श्रीराजाय विवेकानंद सूत्रये सच्चित् सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने भवाय। So let's collect ourselves, sit erect, be comfortable, take deep breaths, allow the breath to go to the innermost of your lung. Picture a calm lake in front of you. Stretching endlessly, thoughts come and go as ripples. Do not control, just watch them. Those ripples are taking away your lesser identities. Breathe steadily and rhythmically with the ripples. Hold fast to you are witness. Fill the mind with light, and the light is yourself. And let peace prevail inside. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. For today's topic, let's begin with a question. How to develop a nation? The crying baby is asked. How to save the world from war? Such is our question, such is our state that we as individuals think about developing a nation. But nevertheless, we have the liberty and freedom to come up with proposals. After all, it is not lying on our shoulders to implement. So let's be free in forwarding the proposals. How to develop a nation? So first proposal is, so to develop a nation, we have to develop its economy. So we have clearly seen, particularly India, before 90s and after 90s, there was a marked difference. So how we could bring about this difference? It was changing the economy got boosted. The driving economy was again brought back to life. So what is called as globalization. Correct? As a brilliant moved on. So the nation came back on its legs, was able to deliver the message. Proposal, so it worked, and it is going to work. We see that it is continuously working. The economy is the one which drives the nation forward. That's the reason why earlier people in the sense powers, were concentrating on trying to get political supremacy, but now it's about economic supremacy. It's no more trying to encroach into the sovereignty of another nation. That's a old technique. Let them be there where they are, let us be where we are. But we should be in a position to control the economy. Because that's what is going to be ultimately beneficial. And that's what is going to bring my nation to the top. Okay, so economy was one. And second thing is, the second proposal will be to tap the wealth resources. So one good example. Have you heard of black gold? What is black gold? They should be. Yes, perfect. So they are found in the Chinese soils of the deserts, Arab regions, full of deserts. And that was a very wealthy resource. Minus that, we find that the place is impoverished. There's not much of a resource there for you to come up with those good stories. So it's the petrol, black gold, which was able to convert the entire barren piece of land into the world of paradise. So tapping the wealthy resource has brought the nation forward. It is a formula which has worked very well. Correct? The third proposal comes and says that if you have a very good trade and foreign policy, then you will be able to develop a nation. Give one example. Singapore. Singapore is one which did a free market trade. It opened a free market trade for the global investors. And then their foreign policy was very, very conducive for investors. And you see where Singapore is. Such a small country, very, very thinly populated, an island, is able to produce govern so much of world economy. So much so that the nation like India is just studying the cast of how to gear up to the standards. So, trade and foreign policies do make a huge difference between a laid-back nation and a forward nation. So, proposal 3 is something which is very practical. The political administration. Britain is one nation which has masterminded so-called the art of political administration. The entire political administration that we have, even the legal judicial system, has been entirely borrowed from Britain. Entirely borrowed. Britain and France. So we find that the nation has come forward because of very, very healthy administrative practices and judiciary things in place. Correct? So they have brought the nation forward. And we can go on there. There are several proposals. So maybe in order to put the nation in the front, maybe we need all the 4 proposals. So try to do the economy, look for natural resources, not one at the expense of the other. Try it all the ways, particularly a nation like India, when so big. So we have enough human resources to actually explore as many avenues that are necessary for bringing the nation forward. But the question is, shall we come up with a developed nation, these 4 and the likes of these 4? Okay. A little bit of deviation. Have you heard of this chess paradox? Chessboard paradox. Huh? So what is this paradox? Actually it seems to be quite correct. No, nothing is missing. Yeah, so see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Okay. This arrangement gives you an area. Assume these are 1 by 1 squares. So 1 by 1 square will have 1 square area. So this is 63 squares. And you rearrange it and you get 1 square of 64. And then you rearrange it in the another way as a rectangle and you get a area of solution. So that's the paradox. How, see, you may go for a fancy rearrangement, but the area of the tile cannot change because area is the basic material. Can I say, suppose this is gold. Okay, you have 63 squares of gold. Suddenly the 63 squares of gold cannot give you 64. But just rearranging. Unless, so this actually will contradict the principles of matter. It cannot be created or destroyed, but only from one to another. But what has changed from this to this? Only rearrangement. So no matter has been added. So how do you get 64 pieces of gold? Again, another 65 pieces of gold. And God knows how many more are there to increase the number of pieces. So that's why it's a paradox. That means there's nothing wrong doing here. Okay? So now you get the point, right? You get the point, right? So I have these kinds of rearrangements. Each of these rearrangements are giving me some, I'm able to realize a potential in order to achieve a tiling of developing a nation. Correct? Maybe I am tiling with 4 pieces. Maybe another 5th piece comes. So, but developing the nation or coming up with an arrangement is the objective. But then, which one is the right, which one is the correct arrangement? The reason is, any particular formation, okay, any particular material formation has its weakest, the strength of the combination depends on the weakest link or the weakest point. If a point is very vulnerable, damaging that, you find that the entire configuration falls apart. Correct? So you have come up with a square. Is the square a stable square? The rectangle, is that a stable rectangle? And a particular awkward, is that a stable thing? So my question is, coming up with this kind of a tiling, are you really coming up with the well-built and developed nation without any vulnerability? Correct? Is that a right question to ask? So now you find this. See, for instance, let me just take that. Why is this kind of a rearrangement a very appropriate way to think? Let us talk about the world view. You want to explain the world. Like almost all the philosophies, they begin with this so-called soul-searching question of trying to explain the world, the creation, how things have come. In fact, Socrates seems to have said this, that tell me the first thing that moved. I will explain the entire creation. That was Socrates. So everybody is very much interested in trying to, come up with a comprehensive understanding of how actually things have come to happen. Now, this is one world view. I have arranged the known ideas and then put them and then I get a world view. So the world view that we have created is the view that has presented itself to the senses. The world I see, the world I touch, the world I hear, the world I smell, and the world I taste. These are the 5 different, maybe 6 or 7 or 8, depending on the defined senses that we have. But everything has been a kind of our world view is a response to the stimulus that we have got from the world itself. So the world is announcing itself, advertising itself, I am so and so, I am so. Nothing wrong. But is that the ultimate view? For instance, the world, even if it presents something before the eyes, is it that I can take it without inquiry? For instance, the mirage of the beautiful oasis in the arid zone is so attractive. But is there of is there any content in it? Is there any value? The more you get attracted to that, the below us, it moves away from you. Never you are able to reach the oasis point. You may be dying in thirst, but that vision that is brought to your eyes is of no use. So can I trust my eyes? These are the soul-searching questions we ask. That's the reason why, I am able to touch it, so my eyes are not able to get me the view proper thing, so I am able to touch it. So my eyes and the touch, both the senses are agreeing, therefore the object must exist. But there are examples coming forth that both the eye as well as touching is not helping. Maybe you have to hear, maybe you have to speak, maybe you have to feel. So how many sense priorities you have to come up with the correct understanding of the world? So this puzzle is giving you area 64. This one is 63 and this one is 65. Which one is correct? Actually, no. You know the answer. That's the reason why. So which one is the correct answer? Huh? All cannot be correct, sir. As I told you, I will give you 63 pieces of gold. I will give you 63 pieces of gold, and without any work, I will get 65 pieces of gold. Then it defies the laws of physics. So which one is correct? Three. Why? 65 is correct. Okay, great. Anyone? So her answer is 65. There are three numbers, right? So, okay, let's ask Akshay. 64. Wow, excellent. Then? No, they are all, see, the corners are matched. They are 64. They are.
Yeah, but they look exactly match.
Actually, it is 63. It is 63. Not in this as well as in this, you will find that there is a gap. A gap when it comes, it increases the surface area, it cannot decrease the surface area. Correct? So the basic material is only 63. In this as well as in this, there are gaps coming in. That's the reason why 63 becomes 64. If you insert gaps, you get a, so what this appears as a square, but it is not a square. This appears as a rectangle, but it is not a rectangle. So if you actually take this line and then expand it, you will find that here it is like a, you know, what is this called? Like a disc, like a lens. You get a fish eye here. This is not a straight line. It's a curve. It's a closed curve. So whenever such pictures are given, the one which has the least area will be the curve. Because when you have the reason is, the 63 is contained in 64. The 63 is contained in 64. 64 cannot be contained in 63. So the basic material must be 63 or less. There may be gaps here also, I am not saying that. But of the three, 63 is the most probable answer. Because by inserting gaps, you get, there are gaps there. So as a result, you will find that the one which has the lowest will give you the correct answer. So now the thing here is, so the gaps have to be removed, correct? So in the world view that I have, there are some gaps in understanding. So what we do, conveniently, we shovel these shortcomings under the carpet. And then say, oh no, we are fine. Oh, it looks like square, the square is perfect. I am very happy with this square. I am happy with this square. So being happy with a particular arrangement is not an explanation of the world. Mind you, we are searching for truth, not for a comfort zone. For a comfort zone, an unthinking life is much more comfortable. You don't even have to think, sleep, eat, play. That's the most comfortable position the person can have for perfect viewing. So, if you want to have a world view, better ask yourself whether this view is correct. But there are, so you come up with a good view, and then you find that there are gaps in this. You can always fill those gaps. The theory has to work to fill those gaps. Let us hold on to this. Because this is the best that we can have. That's another approach. best view that you have because you don't have an alternate view. So in order to have an alternate view, you have to change your perspective. From this perspective, you have to come to this perspective. Only when you change your perspective, you will find that those gaps are getting resolved. But your world is no more going to be a clean sky. Are you ready to give up that passionate attachment to the toy that you are holding on to? I am holding on to a toy and say, oh, this toy is so good, so beautiful, so nice to play with. Oh, but this toy will get damaged if I change the view in such a way. Which is the correct stand you will take? Will you sacrifice the toy for truth? Or will you sacrifice the truth to play with the toy for? Choice is yours. The choice is entirely yours. Correct? So, to summarize this particular chessboard paragraph, the world view that we have is that every effect has a cause. I have considered this entire world. That's why somebody said, tell me the thing which moved first. I will be able to explain the entire creation. So that movement is a phenomenon, is a cause. And from that cause, an effect comes. That effect becomes a cause of another effect. So you have a clean chain reaction which science will be able to delineate it with perfection. Otherwise, it will evolve to a point where it can explain. At least we have a model in place that every effect has a well-defined cause. So you can work on this model and you will have to find out newer ways of inferring causes. That's up to the investigation, up to the research, up to the how eager we are to find an answer. But the problem here is the gap that is introduced here. What is the gap? The gap is about the identity of yourself. With regards to the world, with regards to the tree growing and the mountains forming, and about the sea going in waves, and the petrol spewing out of the earth's crust. All these have wonderful causes, and they are very well in full control of that. But when you ask this question fundamentally, who are you? And where did you come from? While I have the wonderful fanciful answers for the entire world, but I am unable to extrapolate the same theory to give an explanation of where this I came from, where this consciousness came from, where this life comes from. I'm not able to explain that. And that's the whole. That's the most vulnerable point in this reality. Now, are you really serious to answer and address this particular point of I, your life, your definition? Somebody asked the definition of Atma. That amounts to actually asking the definition of the I itself. How do you define I? How do you identify your I? What do you identify with? Correct? So now you have an explanation for the whole world, but this particular whole within this explanation is going to deconstruct the entire explanation, and then you will have to come up with a rearrangement to arrive at the blueprint. For that, you need to explain I. But that requires an entire different person. So, in all these many ways, everything is external. Economy, external. Natural resources, external. Trade and foreign policy, relationship, external. Political administration, collective, external. Everything is about the world. You make as many corrections and rearrangements to the world, you are still going to have a slim gap which is not explained. You are going to have that. And what is the answer for this main question that we have taken? So to develop a nation, Vivekananda says, there is people. Make a beginning at the beginning, so that your foundation is. Let us not think that developing a nation requires huge infrastructure. It doesn't require huge infrastructure. Well, to make the economy cherish and flourish further, You require infrastructure. You require good roads, you require, good administration, you require good, skilled people. Of course, people are coming in. So you cannot avoid developing the people and only concentrate on making corrective measures, rearrangements with the world. But now, do you think that this is an obvious conclusion? Do you think that this is an obvious conclusion? Yeah, everybody can say it. Obviously, society has the people, build the people. Your society will be good. But this is a kind of a lip service that we do. Quite often, we lip service. Are we really convinced? So this man, who is looking far into the future, he says, man, you have to make the beginning from the beginning. Don't make corrective measures in the air. Start from the ground. But is this point taken seriously? To those who think that the earlier proposition from Vivekananda is obvious, let us see what are the current practices. They are much counter to the developing people. Do you want me to read out? First one, I don't know. But just one. Lotteries. Lotteries, do you think is going to make a man strong? Horse racing, betting on horse racing. 1996 Contract Act, India. Supreme Court has legalized betting on horse racing. You know on what ground? Saying that it is not a game of chance, it is a game of maneuverability of skill. Agree? Then why not bet on cricket? Betting in cricket is bad. Why are you only betting on horses? What does Contract Act says, if you win the bet, the agency is bound to pay you legally. You can sue him if you don't get the money. It's a contract. The bet is a contract with the bettors. And the agency has to pay you money if you win the bet. But in the other bets it is not. Like in cricket, if you bet and if the agency doesn't give you money, and they can't be legally penalized. That's the reason, because it's illegal. So, promoting food which is unhealthy. You may say that it is an individual's choice. He takes. How does government come to the picture? But if you look at the regulatory bodies, they have clear pronouncement of what a food should not contain. They have made the pronouncement, but it is not enforced. It's only a recommendation, and abiding by that recommendation is voluntary by these food agencies. So they can create something, make it look good, make it smell good, make it feel good, but make your health bad. This is legalized in not here, everywhere. Whole world does it. Is that developing people? So the earlier idea, this is not an obvious thing. If this is going to be an obvious, and then this is the thing that needs to be resorted to, but how is it that we keep on doing things on a global scale which are counter to the human? It's not that the governments have not spent, the people in power have not spent efforts, resources, and money in human development. It looks bad. To me, you are very tasty. How I say this, suppose somebody takes a picture and puts it in the newspaper. Would you like to see that for yourself? You would like that? So if you don't like to see the picture for yourself, why are you showing to others? Simple logic. And it is healthy practice. Shake hands with somebody. You will feel safe. Okay, so then from Chicago, Swamiji writes to the grave lands of Madras in 24 1 1994. 1890. It cannot be India. Yes. Now, there was a lack of space, so I couldn't put extra two digits. I could have reduced the font, but then I preferred to put a humor. So remember, the nation lives in the cottage, but alas, nobody ever did any for them. Our modern reformers are very busy about video remarriage. Of course, I am a sympathizer in every reform, but the fate of a nation doesn't depend upon the number of husbands they negotiate, but upon the condition of the masses. Now, the condition of the masses is directly related to the human efforts that we make in being. But what is it that we can you raise them? He says, can you give them back their lost individuality? That is, those people have been made to believe that they are good for nothing, they are weak, they are powerless, they are resourceless, and they are born to suffer. This is the idea. A person who is underprivileged, who is been suppressed during those times, not now. 2024, India is far ahead of this, but that was in 1894. This is the India which Swami Vivekananda saw. But remember, the bottom mark of what he calls the poverty line, that is always shiftable. Correct? During that time, 7 rupees salary was something very huge. Now, 40,000 rupees salary is not enough. Correct? So, the poverty mark is almost the same, it's not changed. Still, people are feeling underprivileged, still, people are claiming for lack of attention, lack of subsidies, lack of government support. There are gaps. The reason is because of various rearrangements in this square that we have done, which is not complete. And it has introduced a lot of those minuscule holes, which are making away all the resources that we put into it. You cannot say that, oh, the pot is near perfect, but there is a 1 micron hole. Slowly but steadily it will drain the resource. Correct? So we have such holes, can be plugged. So that can be done only if you raise the masses and make every individual feel that he is somebody this nation wants. He is someone who can contribute to the growth of the nation. So that pride and dignity can be restored in the. So that is the individuality which people, Swami Vivekananda, went on, barefoot. Because the length and breadth of his nation, he found people in such a pitiable and pathetic state. And so, without making them lose their innate spiritual nature, this clause was very conditional during the time, which is very appropriate even now. I don't want to stress on this, but then the main idea is the one which is highlighted. So can you give back to the so when Vivekananda talked about human development, it is this particularly about the individuality every individual must possess. That he is not just one among the cattle. Okay. And getting back to the last week, education is certainly the way. But then, when Buddha was, Buddha was also a Parirajana. Like Swami Vivekananda, earlier times, Buddha was also a Parirajana. He was going in length and breadth of his mission to the extent possible. So in one particular village, the businessman met him and then said, "Sir, I have all the wealth, all the resources. There is no shortcoming in my life. There is no lack of joy and happiness. But still, I am not happy. I feel that something is lacking. So what to do?" Then Buddha said, he said, do dharma. Dharma actually there means charity. So do charity. And then this businessman took it as a life-saving formula and then distributed a part of his wealth to the to the needy people in his locality, and he helped them as much as possible. And it so happened that the Buddha who left, again he came back to the same village. As an itinerary monk, you do not know where you are, then you can happen to visit the same place again. And the businessman once again met him. And then said, sir, last time when I met you, gave me this formula. I abided by that. I distributed my wealth, part of my wealth to people. But still I don't have the peace of mind. Maybe something else is. We said, Acha, you gave the wealth, but did you give Dhamma? Dhamma is the noble truth which he discovered. Four noble truths. Correct? There is suffering in this world. There is suffering in the world. And there is a cause of the suffering. There is a cause for the suffering. It's not for nothing of suffering. There is a cause for the suffering. And the suffering has an end. It's not that you will be eternally suffering. It's not that you are condemned to suffering. There is nothing like eternal hell. So there is an end to the suffering. Very good. But if you say end to the suffering, but I don't know the way to reach the end, that is as good as not knowing about it. Correct? So he said there is a way to end. And then he gave the eight forms of righteousness. How to end this suffering. Right vision, right thought, right thinking, all of right mindfulness, and then so on. Eight things he gives. So this is the Dhamma, the idea that he founded. He says that you followed me, my words, but you followed it only by letter. You didn't follow the spirit. So when you gave money, you should have given them knowledge also. So even you should have educated them. You should have enlightened them about the overall conditions that they are into, because the money that you give is going to fritter away in a few transactions. So subsequently, are you going to be eternally provider for them? You expect them to be on their own, yeah, naturally. So you should have given them Dhamma, four noble truths. Why you didn't do that? And then again, yes, now I understand. Then subsequently, he did the charity. Also, he educated them. That about what further instructions he got from Buddha. So that is very important. But then there is a small problem. Can you give education? When you say, I can give money, I can give counsel, but can I give education? Actually, there are verbs. Verbs are of two kinds. Verbs that carry object and verbs that do not carry object. Eat is a verb. Correct? It carries an object. In the sense, you eat rasagulla. The rasagulla is an object for the eating. You sit. You sit. Sleeping is that. Does it carry an object? Sleeping doesn't carry an object. So they are called as intransitive words. So education is also kind of if it becomes transitive, then you can transact. I give you one bowl of milk, you can take it. Can I give you education in the sense of giving you one bowl of milk? Can I do that? In that sense, no. The reason is, everyone develops according to his own nature. Can you give someone his nature? You cannot give a nature. That is something which you are born with. So, the educators, why this is very important to be discussed in an education institution, is that we must have a clear idea of what is this entire business of education. It's not just cramming a few things and then solving a few problems and then being, witty and lucky on the days of evaluating the external. And if you are transacting like giving milk, that milk will never get it. That milk will never flow. Of course, in the case of milk, it becomes part of the constitution. Maybe if I give you a pencil or a pen, it's not going to become a part of yourself. So, it is not an objective transaction. Giving education is not an objective. Then what it is at all? Do you think you can educate the child? The child will educate himself. And your job is to provide the necessary opportunity to him and remove the obstacles in his path. what IIT Madras is doing, what Indian Institute of Science is doing, what all the education institutions are doing is only giving you an opportunity to shape up your own self. You have to discover the truth from within. You will have to rediscover yourself. Quite often, we have a mistaken notion about our own entity and identity. And these education institutions are creating an inductive atmosphere. People in electrical science understand induction very well. Correct? So, ultimately, the charges are channelized from within the material. Charges can never be never be transacted in induction. The induction provides the appropriate ambience in which the charges which are within the material, they all wake up to the prevailing reality and become a formidable force within. And it gives direction and you are able to get work done. Efficient work done. So all the education institutions are providing some such inductive field. And we subject ourselves into that and then shape up our personality. That's what he says. Can you educate a child? No. A child is what? It's not like the 12 baby which Vivekananda is. He calls an ignorant man a child. If you think that you are ignorant, you are a child. All of us are child. Children are, for that matter. Because we are ignorant. We don't know the truth. We only know certain facts about this world. And we consider ourselves intelligent, we consider ourselves privileged in the field of education. But it is not so. Unless the person is called giving you a comprehensive knowledge about the whole, till then our education, our self-education is incomplete. And the vulnerability will remain forever. So the child will educate himself, he will educate himself on his own. And then Swami Vivekananda gives a wonderful analogy. A plant grows itself, does the gardener grow it? He just provides the necessary environment to it, and the plant itself does its thing. And it's so very true about individuals. That's why they made an experiment, I don't know, maybe actually maybe going. So they took twins, separated twins. They separated it. It so happened that one guy told that, I have a twin brother, but I don't know where he is. So what happened was, but they actually hail from a slum locality. So it so happened that for one of the twin brother, he was given a lot of resources. He was given a lot of culturing. He was provided with all the opportunity to go. And then when he got reunited with the brother, there was a drastic difference in the entire personality of these two. So this particular research concluded saying that the environment does the major conditioning of the human mind towards the growth. They define the growth in terms of the number of dictionary words you know, how polite you are in your talk, how well dressed you are, do you really worry about your presentability? I mean, these are the kinds of variables you can really work because the word that we have defined is causative word with a whole. The whole is not addressed. So on what basis are you going to measure the personality? Based on the word view only. And that's not going to be complete. But whatever it is, it has created a positive change the way we really want to impact the change. Such an impact has actually affected the person in whom all these opportunities were given. And that guy who did not have appeared to have a very, very ordinary existence. So they say that they have changed, but in principle, I doubt the veracity of the conclusion of this experiment. Because if this guy, so-called man who has got all the opportunities, at the most vulnerable moment of his life, the strength of the chain is in the weakest link. That's what they say is the strength of the chain. It's a very well-known fact. So a rich man How do you test a rich man? By seeing how good he is in his business? No. How good he is when his business fails. When he is getting isolated. When he is getting chastised. When he is getting blamed. When he is getting legally penalized. At that moment, what is not. That's where the personality will show. That's where we will know whether the hole is plugged in the puzzle or not. So, the experiment that was done with these twin brothers should have been at the time, testing should have been at the time when both are at their most vulnerable point of existence. That time, they would have worked out the important teaching. I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is that the word that has come to them is only going to be forgotten if the innate nature doesn't undergo a change. And the change actually happens according to its own law of growth. And the individual will have to work on it. And external is only a kind of condition. Well, I may have to wind up another 10:45, right? Another 10 minutes? Huh? 10:50? Okay, thank you. So the word education, let's look at remember the etymology. It's a very old word from Latin. Okay, so because the reason is the word education is something which is highly popular, correct? And we should know, if you know the end at sight, if you know it, then we can actually reach it. If you tie your eyes and then say, yeah, we have to grow, we have to grow, we have to walk, you don't know whether you are really moving towards north or you are going towards south. I am specifically using north-south. So, educare and educate, I don't know how actually to pronounce. I am using my own Indian pronunciation. Educare and educate, educate or see, to bring up and to nourish. So this is the external part. To bring up. So that means you give up appropriate environment, provide a nourishing environment, and then you bring up the object, the person, and the experiment whom you are trying to educate. And educating is the one which is bringing forth. Bringing forth is actually digging out. You can't dig out. The individual will have to dig. That's the reason why coming up with a comprehensive worldview is a must. Because this takes care of all that the world can offer for you. This is the chessboard almost solid. And this will plug the hole. This is what it is. Now, does the modern education do this? Does it achieve this too? In fact, all formal institutions, registered institutions, are only bothered about this. And they need the individual to do this. It's up to your game, it's not my obligation. If you want to do, Vivekananda Study Circle is one, it is referring to this easy. And I am telling you, it's my conviction that the more I dwell on this, the more I will be able to actually make use of this. If you want to make use of what is nourishing to me, I need to know what is good for me. I should know that junk food is not going to be of any help to me. I should refrain from that. That means you have to refrain from temptations. And the temptation is totally mental and physical and personality dependent. Only the object changes. Temptation is a phenomenon. As a child, you are tempted towards a lollipop. As an adolescent, you are tempted towards a little better plaything. And the temptation only grow up in scale. Less and better. Correct? So if you want to have been mastery over against temptation, you will have to have a philosophy of life. You need to develop yourself as per EduC, what EduC is just. Like bring forth from within you. the real identification of yourself. And be a person who wisely uses everything that the world presents itself. Going to bed at 10 o'clock or maybe 9:30 is a very healthy practice. You can go to bed at 1 o'clock also. You will sleep like a log of wood. In fact, people say that you sleep even better because you are so tired that you sleep really well. But that is telling upon your health. That's very good practices. So now I should have a larger view about my own self, saying that okay, my today 1 AM is okay, 1 AM is okay, tomorrow 1 AM is okay, but lifelong can I do that? And it's going to be telling upon my health, it's going to weigh down my efficiency. We should be able to work out that logic from within us and then mend our ways. That is what is bringing forth and drawing out means. Bring out the best potential from within. So now that's about education, about development. Vivekananda says, the education does not help the common mass people to equip themselves for the struggle of life. You see this point, struggle of life. The most vulnerable point, the struggle becomes prominent. So at that time, are you equipped? At that point, you cannot ask, oh, I have a house, I can depend on, oh, I have ornaments, I have investments, I have my friends, I have education, I have those degrees and awards. Are they going to help you? But because you may depend on, there's nothing wrong in hoping against hope, by the way. But the only thing is, how are you sure that it's going to give you a helping hand? What if they don't? God forbid, if neither of them serves your purpose, then your life has not been lived your life has been lived in vain. Because it's all about the insurance that you create for yourself, so that you can provide for tomorrow when the times are trying. Are we ready for it? That is the equipping ourselves, not the bad balance. Which does not bring out the strength of character, the spirit of philanthropy, the courage of a lion. Such an education isn't worth it. Now, I asked myself 101 times that whether the education which I went through, so-called formal package that was given to me, whether did it give any of these highlighted things. It did not teach me philosophy. No. The strength of the character was far from it. You are not even supposed to talk about it. Way back in our early schooling, we had moral instruction class. Even when I was in the school, moral instruction class was removed. It was out of the curriculum for all the classes. I was fortunate that during those, 6, 7, whatever, I happened to sit in those classes and then have a good, friendly talk with the teacher. Because that's the time when the teacher doesn't carry a scale. Because moral instruction cannot be given with a scale. In every other class, teacher will have a scale. Even the librarian has a scale. Librarian doesn't do any teaching, but even she has a scale. So moral instruction we used to really eagerly wait for one period in a week when the teacher will be so kind, will be all sweet around. However bitterness that may be there with it, but that day the teacher will be all sweetness. So we all used to look forward. But as I grew up in the same school, I fascinated, how many of it's happening or not? This, don't have time. And then, about the strength of the character. We were taught scriptures. See, scriptures are universal truths. They are not doctrines. Can you believe this? In 7 and 8 in my school, we were taught scriptures. To that young, tender mind. Because they know, at that time, they knew that putting that seed into the so-called soil, into that rich soil, you will get a wonderful harvest at the right time. I should thank my institution. But the same practice could not be kept. What happened? Why is it that the education is now shying away from imparting these kinds of values? There is not enough time given to that. Vivekananda study circle in IIT Madras is just pitched in at such a juncture that people can really use it. It's beautiful, it's wonderful. It's a very, very holy initiative. And a very good opportunity. No, people cannot blame that. That's the reason why I am very, very thankful to the schools which brought me up. That they gave me those values, they put it right in front of me. This is black and this is white. And after these many 50 years or 40 years of subsequent living, has told me, wow, what a wonderful thing that I have gone through. I've got all these seeds with me now, and they're all grown. The entire personality seems to be actually very well growing along these lines. Because scriptures have never gone wrong. And it has been given at a very early age. It is not doctrination, not to release. Why is it that people show? Why is it that the reason is maybe everyone is so busy with the modern commitments and responsibilities and whatever that they think that the immediate things at hand are the ones to be attended to. And the ones which are in the future will take. Such a future is not going to come. Silent anyway. So is that education for the name? So our education institution currently is undergoing a transformation, a change. This is not the final format. At least in India, I have a very strong belief that the ideas of Vivekananda will more permeate and it will be perpetuated in the West. Real education is that which enables one to stand on his own legs. Interpretation calls forth a lot of thinking into it. What is when they stand on his own legs? I am standing on 2 legs, I am not bothering with anything. So such a physical interpretation is not going to help. Correct? So that's about this. Human development is all about this. And by the way, human development is not contrary to all the 4 points, economic development or trade and policy. All of them are included. It's as it has been rightly said, those big solving the bigger puzzles is of primary importance, but not at the expense of introducing holes. Because by changing the perspective, you are going to get a snugly fit figure without holes. And that's our job. Education must provide life-building, man-making, and character-making solutions for ideas. Of all the other 3 slides, we will have in a further meeting to discuss. I will be taking the part 2 or part 3 of this lecture if the environment prevails. So finally, education is about learning. And learning, there are 2 aspects to it: learning to do and learning to be. So, the doing part, institutions are taking care. The being part, unfortunately, presently, it is the sole responsibility of the individual. And the earlier he wakes up, he or she, no gender bias. So better say Rita. But Rita is not a different condition. So earlier the he she wakes up, better the he she lives. Very bold. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions you would like to discuss?